Sean Strickland's scale-breaking off-season bulk-up has fans crying Sean Thicklin, while Paddy Pimblett just threw gasoline on his years-long beef with Ilya Tepuria by calling him out for having a hand-picked highlight reel of opponents. Well, folks, it looks like Sean Strickland has been hitting the fridge harder than the gym lately, and the MMA world is not letting him get away with it. Footage recently dropped showing Strickland stepping on the scale next to none other than Helen Yee. The number? A jaw-dropping 230 pounds. For context, Strickland fights at middleweight, which caps at 185 pounds. That's a solid 45 pounds over. Basically, if Strickland were a few in-and-out burgers heavier, he'd be knocking on the door of the heavyweight division like, "Yo, Jon Jones, what's up?" Now back to Strickland's transformation from middleweight menace to Sean Thicklin. Yes, that's what the internet is calling him now, and they're not holding back. Let's start with a fan favorite from Instagram who dropped the line of the week. Sean Thicklin. How the f***ing is he cutting 40+ pounds? That TRT working overtime or what? Oof, brutal. But wait, it gets better. Another user chimed in with, "He's out here calling out welterweights but can't lose weight. Man's trying to fight smaller dudes while rocking a dad bod." Okay, that one stings, and yet, kind of valid. You see, Strickland used to fight at 170 pounds. Yes, welterweight. This man once made weight in a division where guys cut from 190, and now he's walking around looking like he just finished bulking season for a Mr. Olympia contest. Someone check his freezer for chicken breasts and unseasoned broccoli, or maybe just empty ice cream tubs. Another fan was more concerned than amused. Does Strickland look off to anyone else, like not just chubbier, but something's wrong with his face? To be fair, Strickland has always had that look that says, "I'm not angry, just disappointed in humanity." But yes, we see what you mean. He looks like he just woke up from a 3-week-long pizza coma and remembered he has a fight in 2 months. And then came the conspiracy theorists. He was probably 240 a few weeks ago. The man's slowly morphing into a heavyweight without even realizing it. So what's the deal here? Is Strickland just living his best life in the off-season? Did he misread the label on a tub of protein powder and accidentally start bulking like he's in the world's strongest man competition? Or maybe, just maybe, this is all part of an elaborate Strickland mind game. Gain weight, throw the internet into chaos, and show up shredded on fight night looking like nothing ever happened. Classic chaos strategy. In Strickland's defense, the man is known for being unorthodox, both in and out of the octagon. Maybe this is just Sean being Sean. After all, we've seen stranger things in MMA. Remember when Paulo Costa blamed red wine for gassing out in a fight? Yeah, that actually happened. But until Sean cuts down to middleweight again, or announces his heavyweight debut against Tai Tuivasa, the memes will continue to fly. One thing's for sure, if Sean Strickland wants to fight at 230 pounds, he better start throwing leg kicks like Derek Lewis and walking around with a Popeyes combo meal in his corner. Until then, keep those memes coming, MMA fans, because nothing unites this community quite like a juicy weigh-in controversy and a side of internet mockery. In other news, 2 top-notch fighters are calling each other out. Nothing spices up fight week rumors like a good old-fashioned Paddy Pimblett versus Ilya Tepuria beef. And just when you thought this feud had cooled off, Paddy's out here tossing verbal Molotovs all over El Matador's shiny new rep. Ilya Tepuria is currently ranked number 3 on the UFC's pound-for-pound list. That's pretty elite territory. Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, and then the dude who throws designer punches and somehow never gets tired. But Paddy the Baddy Pimblett isn't exactly lining up to kiss the Topuria ring. Instead, he's questioning the guy's whole journey to the top, suggesting that Ilya's been living life on easy mode. And before we get into this wonderfully petty saga, do us a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to MMA Zone. We bring you daily MMA madness and even the occasional Hasbullah call-out. Now back to business. In a recent interview with TNT Sports, Paddy let it rip like he'd been holding this in since 2020. When asked about a potential fight with Topuria, he didn't hold back. Apart from Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, I think me versus Ilya is the biggest fight the UFC can make. There's loads of history in it. People love that stuff. Look, he's not wrong about the history. These two have been chirping at each other longer than some fighters stay under UFC contract. But Paddy wasn't done. Not even close. He's done a lot in the sport since then, but I still think he's been hand-fed opponents. El Matador's opponents came gift-wrapped with a "thank you for boosting my record" card. Then Paddy broke out the receipts. Someone posted this the other day. All his opponents? Holloway was back at 145 after going to war with Gaethje. Volk had just been knocked out like 3 months earlier. Josh Emmett's 37th. And Bryce. I love Bryce, but we all know he's not a striker. Shots. Fired. This wasn't just shade. This was a full eclipse. Let's break it down. When Topuria fought Volkanovski, Volk was fresh off a knockout loss to Islam Makhachev. So yeah, he wasn't exactly operating at 100%. As for Holloway, that fight happened roughly 6 months after the Gaethje banger. So not exactly the next day, but still within hangover territory. And sure, Emmett's not in his prime, and Bryce Mitchell is a lovable grappling wild man who throws hands like he's blindfolded in a wind tunnel. But still, these are no cans. If Topuria is being hand-fed fighters, he's at least chewing through steak, not marshmallows. Still, Paddy's got a point. The resume's a bit curated. It's like Topuria's opponents were chosen by a Spotify algorithm. Based on your recent wins, we suggest this slightly damaged featherweight. And speaking of matchups, Ilya's next big test comes at UFC 317 against none other than Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira. Sounds spicy, right? Well, not everyone's convinced this is the right fight either. Ali Abdelaziz popped up and made a solid case that either Justin Gaethje or Arman Tsarukyan should be fighting for the belt instead. He said Charles is 2-2 in his last 4. Gaethje is 3-1 and gave up a title shot to fight Max Holloway. Tsarukyan has done enough, too. According to Ali, Ilya might just walk through Oliveira, which, let's be honest, is either a prediction or a pre-excuse for disappointment. But wait, the debate didn't stop there. Now we've got Henry Cejudo throwing in his Triple C wisdom. He doesn't think Ilya, or even Islam Makhachev, should be talking double champ legacy until they actually hold 2 belts at the same time. There's a difference between being multi-division and being a double champ. I'm talking 1 belt on each shoulder like Conor, Amanda, DC, and obviously me. So basically, unless you're posing like a UFC Christmas tree with belts as ornaments, don't come around calling yourself a legend. And finally, the real wild card of this whole saga, Hasbullah. Yes, Mini Khabib himself took to X and dropped this bomb. Hey, Ilya Tepuria, if you really want that belt, then I'm ready. Dana White, send the contract. I will bring the lightweight belt back to Dagestan. Let that sink in. A dude who needs a booster seat to get through TSA is calling out the pound-for-pound #3 fighter in the world, and somehow we're not entirely against it. Between Paddy's roast, Ali's matchmaking, Cejudo's legacy lecture, and Hasbullah challenging Topuria like it's a WWE storyline, UFC drama is alive and well. So there you have it. Strickland's belly has the fans buzzing, and Paddy's mouth is once again writing checks he seems ready to cash. Whether you're Team Batty, Team El Matador, or just here for the memes, one thing's clear: MMA drama never sleeps, and neither do the fans who feast on it.